All right, you're very welcome back to Thursday's football show. So the first CLASICO of the season takes place at the Camp Nou, 4:15 kickoff Irish time on Sunday afternoon. It is Barcelona against Real Madrid, but for the first time in over 10 years, there is no Lionel Messi or there is no Cristiano Ronaldo. The BBC's Andy West is on the line to look ahead to the CLASICO. Evening, Andy.
Good evening.
That's just one of many reasons why this feels like one of the more underwhelming Clásicos of recent times.
Yeah, in that way it is, but I think it's going to be quite decisive in terms of, well, for starters, it could cost Julen Lopetegui his job. The Real Madrid manager really under real pressure, the team not doing at all well. He's only a few months into the job. But a lot of talk that if they don't put in a decent performance and get at least a point this Sunday, he'll be fired. So I don't think it'll be underwhelming for him. It's quite an overwhelming task, obviously, to follow on from Zinedine Zidane, and he's failing at the moment.
Yeah, so we'll go through the two teams, and Real Madrid are the more interesting story right now. I actually ended up commentating on Barcelona's win over Inter Milan last night and Real Madrid's victory against Victoria Pilsen in the Champions League on Tuesday. Neither side were particularly convincing, but especially Real Madrid. This was the sort of game that if Cristiano Ronaldo was playing in, you would have expected them to probably get a hat-trick and they would have won this game 5 or 6-0. As it turned out, Pilsen had 3 or 4 clear-cut chances and they had half a chance in injury time that if their striker had taken, Nacho made this wonderful challenge. Julen Lopetegui, would it be fair to say he probably would have been sacked if they had scored an equaliser in injury time? The tightrope he's walking, is it that fine a line?
Yeah, it's fair to suggest that. Obviously, we won't know for sure, but that's certainly a fair suggestion. After the results they'd had previously, if they'd lost at home to a team like that, if they'd not won at home against a team like that, he could be gone already. But, I think the best you can say about that game for Real Madrid was that they won. And that was about as good as you can say. And they just desperately needed to win because they had a real bad run before that. League defeats against Alaves and Levante and a Champions League defeat against CSKA Moscow. That's not what you expect from Real Madrid. And only 1 goal in 4 games as well. And that was scored by Marcelo going into the game at the midweek. So, yeah, they won. You can't say much more positive about it. Although I think a big plus is Karim Benzema got a goal, his first goal in nearly 2 months. And I guess a lot of strikers are like this, but he's a streak scorer. He'll go a few weeks without scoring, then he'll score a few consecutive. So maybe that'll get him started.
In one way, is it as simple as saying that if you take out a player like Cristiano Ronaldo, who scored at least 40 goals for each of the last 8 seasons, how can there not be a dip? I just wonder if it's even far greater than that. When you look at somebody like Isco over the last couple of games, who was taken off 5 minutes into the second half on Tuesday night, just looks completely lost. That so many of these players in the Real Madrid team have had their careers defined in many ways by playing with Cristiano Ronaldo, of always having him as the outball. And when that's gone, they suddenly have to try to think of something else, and it's not coming particularly easy to them. Yeah,
the last couple of years, they've had the luxury of being able to not play particularly well, but Ronaldo would get them a goal or two. Now they don't play particularly well, and they haven't got any real natural goal scorers. That's the thing that really I struggle to understand how they've let it come to this, that they've got this squad of, obviously, they've got a lot of world-class talent in that squad, of course they do. But tell me who's going to score the goals. Tell me who you rely on in a game to score a goal for you. Gareth Bale, not a prolific goal scorer, neither's Isco, neither's Marco Asensio, neither is Benzema. He's a great link-up player, but they haven't got someone who lives for the penalty area to finish those chances. And, every team needs that, especially a team like Real Madrid, who one of their strengths over the last few years has always been crosses into the box. They've had Marcelo from one side, Dani Carvajal from the other, Bale sending in crosses, Ronaldo being there to attack them. And actually, Benzema did score a goal like that, you remember the other night, a header from a cross. But they don't really have anyone who thrives in that kind of play. And I just find it so strange that they've allowed the squad to get into this state from, if you think 3 years ago, not even that, 2 years ago, when they won the double. I added it up. It's 48 goals they got from Ronaldo, James Rodriguez and Alvaro Morata. All of them have gone, and they haven't really replaced with a serious attacking player. Obviously, there's Mariano they brought back from Lyon, but he's very unproven and still finding his feet with the team. So we couldn't expect too much from him fairly. So it's strange how they've allowed the squad to develop into such a toothless attack.
Even allowing for the fact that Neymar or Mbappe or Hazard didn't arrive during the summer, that there wasn't a replacement for Cristiano Ronaldo, is there a sense of frustration around Madrid that Gareth Bale or Marco Asensio or Isco haven't stepped up to another level with Ronaldo gone, that they haven't almost taken advantage of that opportunity that's now there?
Yeah, but you're never going to get 50 goals a year from Gareth Bale, are you? You know, he's a great player. When he's on the top of his game, he can be unstoppable in some aspects of his play, his pace and his power. But you'd probably want him to create chances for a striker. So there is, but I think there's more frustration with Florentino Perez, the president, for the first time really in a few years that there's been frustration with him. Since he sacked Ancelotti, I think there was a lot of disgruntlement among the fans then. But since then, you know, it's really now the first time that he's getting the criticism, because the fans understand that they're just lacking in that very important aspect of the squad, and that's a goal scorer. And I don't think Neymar would have particularly improved much. Eden Hazard certainly wouldn't. They've got players like that already. Mbappe maybe would have done if they played him through the middle. But, you know, another striker like Lewandowski they've been linked with for years. Aubameyang, why didn't they make a move for him before he went to Arsenal? Someone who lives for the penalty box, who's a goal scorer. They just don't have anyone of that stature. But, of course, they are still a team of great players. So they should still be good enough to beat Victoria Pilsen more comfortably and beat Alaves and beat Levante. So it's not just Ronaldo going. And I think the World Cup, a post-World Cup hangover is in there as well. A lot of players who went deep into the World Cup are struggling, especially Varane. You know, they've had to drop him because he kept making mistakes. So I think that's another factor.
And even in spite of all those poor performances and recent defeats, they are still just 4 points behind Barcelona heading into the CLASICO. So they win this, they're back within a single point. Like, maybe this can be the pivotal moment in Lopetegui's reign. Maybe they go to the Camp Nou, they win the CLASICO, and suddenly it all turns on its head. Like, is that the sense going into this game, that maybe he's not done just yet, that if they can win this, it could well be the turning point?
It'll have to be. I think it's win this or he's out. If he doesn't, or at least put in a good performance with a draw, he'll be gone, I'm sure. And yeah, if they win, play well, win at the Camp Nou, beat Barcelona, even Florentino Perez had struggled to sack a manager after that. So yeah, he would probably stay then. So it's not just that this could be a turning point for Lopetegui. It has to be.
Yeah. Real Madrid's disastrous run of form has probably overshadowed a little bit of a mini slump for Barcelona as well over the past couple of weeks, which they've certainly ended with the victory against Sevilla and against Inter Milan. But no Lionel Messi, and watching them last night, maybe much like some of those Real Madrid players who are so used to having Ronaldo around, like watching Luis Suarez, he looked a little bit lost last night. He had the brilliant ball for the opening goal for Rafinha. Without Messi, this Barcelona team, are there players there ready to step in, or does Valverde have to just find another way of playing?
He has to find another way of playing. You can't just plug someone in and expect them to replace Messi. That's what Jordi Alba said when he was asked about it. You can't replace Messi. He is irreplaceable. More so than Cristiano Ronaldo at Real Madrid. If you could find another prolific goal scorer, okay, you're not going to get as many as Cristiano Ronaldo, but he would still do a similar job for the team. But Messi gives everything to that team. He creates play from the right wing. He drifts inside into the middle and goes deep to associate with Sergio Busquets. He runs into the box to score goals. You can't have one player replacing what Messi does. So I think actually it could help them actually become a better team, because they'll have to be, because they can't rely on him so much. The fascinating question is, of course, who's going to play instead. And last night it was Rafinha, which was a bit of a surprising choice because he's only started 2 games previously all season. But he obviously started, did okay, got a goal. So he's very much strengthened his case. Now, the obvious player who you would think should be replacing Messi is Ousmane Dembele, but he's been so up and down. And there's a report emerging in Spain today, and just in the last couple of hours, that he turned up half an hour late for the game last night.
Right.
The players were expected to turn up in the dressing room, all be there by 7 o'clock. He wasn't there till nearly 1:30. So if that's true, then maybe he was due to start, and when he was late, Valverde decided to drop him to the bench. And really, if that is true, that's just an indication of what's going wrong for him. He's just sloppy on the field, and it seems off the field as well. The game against Sevilla at the weekend, he did some great things, but he did some terrible things as well, and needlessly so. He's just careless, and it's such a shame because he's got so much talent. But you just wonder if he's been plunged into a huge club like Barcelona too early.
We're tight on time, Andy, so to wrap up, what's your prediction?
Well, I think the way the teams have been playing recently, it's hard to see Real Madrid getting a win. It's always a fool's game trying to predict when teams like this go together. But I'd have to say Barcelona will win it. Probably not convincingly because they haven't been playing too well either. But Barcelona by a goal or two.
Great stuff, Andy. Enjoy the game. We'll take a quick break.
Thank you.